All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Happy Friday. Mapu couldn't be with us today. She's helping deliver another baby into the world, so she's hard at work. So she asked me to step in and to help with this class today. So if you haven't already, don't forget to oil up. So today's topic is how to know which oil to use. And so no matter where you are in the stream of time when it comes to making your collection of oils and getting your toolbox in order. It doesn't matter whether we have a small box or a large toolbox. We sometimes may get overwhelmed, right? But we know that through time and attending these Friday classes, we know the greater number of the oils that we have at our disposal means the better results we can have. So really, really awesome to help build your storehouse of oils. But then it, like I said, it becomes overwhelming trying to figure out which one do I use. Some of them have similar properties. What do you do, right? So that's where it comes to developing that skill in learning how to make better choices so we can have better results with our oils, right? So remember this, oils move you to have a more balanced state of homeostasis. So we want to have that to the best of our ability, right? We want to function at all cylinders as best as we can so we can accomplish the things that we have to accomplish day to day. So something that you might ask yourself, what might I experience on my way to greater balance and wholeness? Am I providing proper support to my body's needs? So am I getting the adequate nutrition that I need? Am I getting the rest that I need? Am I eating the way I should? So that way you can have the most successful outcome, right? So today's class is designed again to help us to really make full benefit of the oils that you have in your personal selection. So we're going to get into it. So what ways can we help to select our tools? So what do you have on hand? That could be one category, right? So maybe you're like me and you carry your oils with you everywhere you go. And so that can be really good, right? Because you never know when you're going to need them. Things that come in handy is when we have books like this. So this you can get on oillife.com. And it is a super nifty tool to help you to really unlock and to get to know your oils better, right? And as that interest grows in learning more, then you really are able to use that first line of response when we identify things that are going on, whether we want to attack something health-wise, we have some desired change we have in mind, so that way we can get those results, right? And so the research in that book is just amazing. If you don't already have one, I highly suggest you get one, whether it's an actual book or you get a virtual, because you can do that too, which is really cool. So intuition would be our next category. You know, sometimes people are like, I don't know, but sometimes our body, our mind, we just know what we gravitate to. And so that's something that we should pay attention to, because there's a reason why you're attracted to that particular oil, right? And trust that feedback and act on it, because that intuition, you know, that gut feeling, as it were, is a reliable thing, and it helps us to then to know, and when we keep track of those experiences, then again we have better results. So again, other things that we can do to help us to be able to build that knowledge when it comes to when we're using our oils. In this book, we have something called the A to Z guide, the reference guide, right? And so we're able to look at the different health concerns or things that we're trying to address, and then we can choose accordingly, right? Another section that it has is natural solutions. So in that part, then you're able to look up the oil, the blend, look up the origin, the chemistry, the properties, the top uses, how to use it, any safety things that might be applicable. And so we're able to make that selection based on that education that we have. And so it's super cool, because when we start looking at those things, we start building that knowledge, right? And so then we're able to really then cross-reference and see other sections. Another part of the book, it has again that oil properties. That's such a big thing. For me recently, when I was dealing with some skin issues and my doctor wanted to put me on steroids, I quickly looked up something that has the steroidal properties. So there you go. Then we're able to see what oil could I substitute in lieu of making that decision, and then try that out and then see where you go from there, right? So really, really awesome to be able to look up those oil properties, look at that chart, be able to see how the oils work, see if there's a focus area, and then we're able to address those unique aspects of the body systems and the areas of focus. So area of focus would be another thing that we can look at, right? Because if there's a specific body system that we're trying to target, we can go that route, right? So say we're looking at the respiratory system. You have a cough, so i.e. you want to target the respiratory system. Or if you're dealing with some heart or circulatory issues, so then you want to look at the cardiovascular, right? So it's kind of in that line. Another way or another tool that we can use to help us to select an oil would be online. So when we're doing our research and we're looking, we're able to see, okay, maybe you're dealing with a certain condition. When you do a deep dive and look into what things you should be looking at in terms of whether it's the root cause or if there's a body system, again, associated with that, knowing all of those things then again helps you to add more layers to that. Kind of going back to intuition, using your sense of smell is another way to help us to discover if we're love or if we're drawn to something. So then we can help to use that when it comes to choosing. And so, I mean, we want to tap into that aromatherapy part of the essential oils, right? Because we've learned so many things on how they're so good, not just topically, but our sense of smell, helping us with those emotional things, right? And so that leads us to the other part of it, the emotions, right? And so we could look at the emotional state that we're in, trying to match an oil with that, helping us to get in or out of that emotion, trying to switch up our emotion, right, to maybe be more cheerful if we're experiencing some things in our life. But then what's really interesting is that there was something that noted why our emotions play such a big role. There was an example given that, say there's two different people and they are both with some arthritis issues, right? Two different emotional profiles. So their needs might be different, right? And so when we look at the emotional needs, then that can also correlate when it comes to choosing an essential oil, right? Maybe with their emotional needs, they might need deep blue, but then maybe for their emotional needs, the other one might need aroma touch. And so that plays such a big role when it comes to helping us to choose with our mood and things like that. And so another aspect that we want to look at also is oil personalities. So learning your oils and their personalities, seeing the sense of which oils and blends best work for you, where that plant was grown, the parts used, the chemistry contained, all of those different things go into that oil energy profile. And so just as an example, cinnamon, right? We know that cinnamon has those warming properties. And so it could also help us to that heat to ward off unwanted predators or to warm up a cold heart or body, serving as immunostimulant or an aphrodisiac, right? So that definitely goes into play. And so another thing that was really cool, another way to help us to select an oil would be individually testing, right? And so a lot of us have heard on our Friday class and are familiar with the Itovi scanner, right? And so that could be another way that you could use to help yourself to utilize and to see which oil would best be for you in that particular state. And then of course soil testing, and so that could be another way that you could quickly identify to see what resonates, what's beneficial to your body at that time, right? And so I want to show you guys another tool that if you have this book that you can utilize. So I'm gonna pull that up and share screen. And of course, if you are running into any questions, definitely feel free to add them into the chat. All right, and so in that oil reference book, we have this chart. Let me see if I can make it bigger. There we go. So the essential oil of action. So again, going back to the emotions and the way we're thinking, or the really the end use of what we're trying to accomplish when it comes to why we're reaching for our oils, right? So we have this nifty chart in the book on page 16 and 17. So again, if you have your book, you're able to follow along there as well. So definitely another one to utilize, right? So if we're trying to feel grounded, we have the oil Siberian fir, black spruce, frankincense, Douglas fir, sandalwood. And so we could use those in combination with each other. We could pick one or two. And so it's really up to you when it comes to using those, but at least it gives you an area of a designation of where to start, right? Maybe you're in the focus mode, right? A lot of our children have gone back to school. Maybe we're doing some studying ourselves, whether it's for work or the ministry or things like that. Check out this category focus, right? We have various oils there: vetiver, cedarwood, rosemary, peppermint, and lime. So I know for me personally, I love doing rosemary and lemon, but I'm gonna have to try lime in there too for focus in my diffuser. And so we have all of these different ones, different categories and different oils of action that we're able to choose from. Let me check the chat and see how we're doing here. Catalina says she loves using the app. Yeah, it's so easy. It's so quick and on the go. You don't have to worry about carrying it with you. It's already in your phone, right? If you have it on your phone. So very, very cool. So if you have any tips that you like, definitely unmute and share them with us. You know, in our Friday classes, we love to be able to learn from each other and to see how each of us individually chooses our oils, because we want to help each other to not feel that so overwhelmed, right? And so if anybody would like to share with us, definitely unmute and share with us your tip or your way that you like to choose your oils.
I know. I'm like I like the app with the for the Essential Life book and all the other references. So that's my first go-to. So I'll go and put in whatever the ailment is or whatever the feeling, emotion, whatever, and search that. And it's always perfect. It's amazing what it comes up with an oil maybe I didn't even think of. And it's
yeah. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Sharon. And look like Joan and Aubrey, y'all wanted to chime in. What y'all got?
Same thing as Sharon mentioned. Honestly, I use the Essentials app as well. And what was it? A couple of weeks, Joni had some cramping in her foot, like a Charlie horse of some sort. And I just Googled, like not Googled, sorry. I put in the Essentials app, Charlie horse, and it gave us a few oils and she put them on right away. And she's here to tell you what happened.
It was awful. I never get Charlie horses. I feel bad for people that suffer from those, but it was my whole calf and my whole foot. Like, I don't know what was happening. And it was the middle of the day, and I'm like, this will not stop. And I was still trying to work through it. And Aubrey's like, in her little app, and was like, put these, I think we used 2 or 3 oils on, and it was like within 60 to 90 seconds, the cramping stopped. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I don't know why I didn't think to do that sooner. But yeah, the app works great.
Yeah, and so y'all brought out a good point. Sometimes when we're going through something, sometimes not only does it that overwhelm of, oh my gosh, I have all these oils, what I choose from, but sometimes you're in such an emotional state where you just can't even muster up the desire or the will to choose. So that's when having a buddy to help you and to share them and bounce, hey, I'm feeling this way, like can you help me decide what I need? And so just like Joan had her buddy there, Aubrey, to be able to help her to in that moment to, oh yes, that's right, let me refocus, let me use these, and then having that awesome result. So having an oil buddy is always a good thing. Is there anybody else that would like to share?
So I was just gonna say, I love how you pointed out about intuition, because sometimes I am in overwhelm and I'm like, I don't know, and I just go to my oils and I'm like, okay, what looks good? What am I drawn to? And the same goes for where to apply it, especially with emotions. People are like, where do I put these oils? There's no right or wrong place. Put them where you're drawn to. So if you feel like you need it over your heart, or you feel like you need it, on the back of your neck, listen to your intuition.
Absolutely. We have Gia in the chat asking, do you remember what oils you used for those particular cramps?
I'm gonna look it up right now for you, Gia. Hold on. All right. You'll remember, right?
I think one was wintergreen. I don't remember. This was a couple weeks ago. I don't remember what happened this morning.
Oh. What's the other name for it? What did you say? We looked it up.
It was cramping, muscle spasms, maybe.
Isn't it called a Charlie horse?
Mm-hmm.
Is it one word? Hold on.
Catalina in the chat brings out another really good thing too. Even if we don't have the full book, just that small A to Z guide, the sampler that we typically give to our customers is another really good resource that we can utilize. She says she likes to have that on hand and know what oil to use for what they need. So really, really awesome.
Sometimes I don't have a specific way of what I want to use. Like Boyd Troutman said, sometimes just reach over and grab something. And in that way, a lot of times we find out which oils work that we think we would have never tried for a particular ailment.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Dee.
Oh, so a couple of them that came up were basil and cypress and clary sage. Coriander also, that's a warming oil that Lynn found Charlie horses. So peppermint, marjoram. Oh, I did use marjoram.
Marjoram, yeah, that's right.
Marjoram, lemongrass, and deep blue. So what's funny is those are the same oils I would typically use for pain, just like any sort of muscle issues like low back pain or shoulder pain. My go-to is copaiba, lemongrass, marjoram, and
Very, very cool. Yes, definitely. Copaiba is one a go-to for so many different things. And so let's see. Marva said, so glad I'm not the only one who can't remember what I used. Yeah, sometimes it is that way. We just use something and it's like, oh no, I had such a good result. And so some of the reference things that I was looking through did make mention when we can, it's good to have a little notebook, a little journal to be able to make note of what we used. That way, in the event we experience that same thing again, we can always go back and look through that. So whether that's an actual physical thing we write in or we keep it digital, right? Because so many of us are moving to the digital because it's just so much easier, compact to have it on our phone because we carry our phone everywhere. And so that is pretty much what we were going to share today. Hopefully these tips and things were helpful, just some different things that we can go through, whether it's in our book, asking each other, relying on our resources, right? We want to use our resources when it comes to being able to help us to select. And of course, attending our Friday meetings, that's where we learn more. And the more we learn, the more we're able to put into practice when it comes to our oils. And so before we end today's class, I do want to share some reminders. If you haven't already gotten your ticket for the convention for next week, definitely get your ticket. Attending virtually is amazing. Of course, being in person, there's no substitute, but I realize there's a lot of people that have different circumstances. And so even attending virtually, there's two options. So definitely take advantage of that. And you know, when you have your ticket, whether it's in person or virtual, you're going to have access to the convention kit before anybody else. We just got a sneak peek from Emily and Becca that there's going to be some extra things given to those in person. So how exciting is that? Some new releases coming, not just next week, but in January. So big things are coming, you guys. So definitely stay tuned. Watch our Facebook or Instagram posts and stories to keep up with what's going on if you're not able to attend with us next week. So obviously, because we'll be at convention next week, there won't be a Friday class. We will miss you guys, and we know y'all will be there with us in spirit if you're not able to come. But that is definitely it for today. So if anybody has any questions as to how to get your virtual ticket, definitely reach out to your upline and let them know of any other questions or concerns you might have. And of course, as always, we'll have the class posted on Mapu's YouTube channel coming soon when she's able to upload that. So if there was something that I mentioned that you're like, I need to hear that again, you'll have a chance to do that. And then also, of course, have access to the other amazing classes that we've had the last few Fridays. And then just one last thing, Sharon mentioned Facebook groups. Yes, so we have various Facebook groups. If you're a customer of ours, you know, there's the oil Return to Wellness, and then there's the other one on Facebook through Jessica Moultrie. Those are always super, super amazing to take advantage of if you're dealing with something and you're not home with your books or you don't have access to the other references, but you still have access to Facebook. There is a chat feature or a search feature on those Facebook pages to where you can do additional research, see testimonials from other people that may be dealing with something that you're dealing with as well. So definitely we have a lot of resources that we can take advantage of so we can best utilize our oils, right? Because we know they're an investment and we want to make sure we're using them and that we're getting full benefit. So hope everybody has a wonderful day and happy Friday and have a great weekend, you guys.